A pretty serious topic that we're going to discuss today. Something that, when you start really diving deep, it shows where America actually stands in each volatile place, and each chaos, each crisis, each war that's happening across the world. Yeah, we say we're supporting Ukraine, or hey, we say we're supporting Israel. Hey, we're supporting this person or that person. But this video should show you a little bit different summary. Let's dive deeper in actually what America's role is across the world and what they're doing. Now, I love America. I'm part of America. But I do believe that we need to be looking and seeing truly why we're funding all the things that we're funding. There could be a major reason. Let's talk about it today. This video starts right now. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. It is a little chilly, so we are actually in the car today. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's okay, but let us know what you think about this content. The whole point of us sharing this story and this video and all the content that we do is just to enlighten you, and hopefully where you can do your own research to gain a common sense perspective and maybe some wisdom along the way to see actually what is going on in our world and how we can keep our own family safe. Now, today's video is a little bit different, not just because we're talking about current events or prepping or homesteading, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper and see really where America plays into the whole scheme of what we're doing across the world. We talk about all these congressmen and senators passing all these bills basically to fund these wars, but this is something that's even more startling. There's been multiple sources that said that once Russia is bombing Ukraine, and Ukraine basically pulls these military missiles and bombs away, and so does every other country that is being bombed, to then study. They go into a place where then the researcher can look in and see exactly how they're building these bombs. How did they get this technology? How did they formulate this missile to do what it did? Well, there's been something very, very startling when the Ukraine starts digging into these missiles. Guess what? They found U.S. parts. So all the while we've put sanctions on companies selling to Russia, there's still a back door and a shadowy situation that's happening to allow our companies, our defense spending companies that we invest in, that we pay, that we basically utilize for our technology in wars, and also to sell in our proxies like Ukraine or any other country that we're trying to quote unquote help. We're actually selling the same technology to the other side. So who actually is winning, and why are we actually doing this? So there's a study that was done that said that when they opened up some of these rockets, they found that it takes 450 different components that the West would have had to sell Russia to make these missiles and bombs that have been overly placed into Ukraine by taking out targets, by doing different things, and by blowing up their substations, their energy, all that going on. So they now have realized that 450 different components is coming from the West, and the majority of those is coming straight from America. Now, what parts are coming from America? Well, the guidance systems are from American producers of defense technology. The brains of the operation, the communications, the chips, they're done by companies like Texas Instruments. All these companies that are defense spending and defense contractors of ours is actually selling these chips to Russia. Now, what they're going to say is, no, we're not selling those chips to Russia. And it's because they're working through several channels. When we put sanctions against a company and against a country, it makes it where we can't just say, okay, this XYZ company can sell straight to Russia. Well, they can't do that anymore. So what we've done is when we put these sanctions, not only are we hurting our dollar, not only are we making BRICS take off, not only are we able to fund defense contractors to send money to Ukraine, what are we actually doing? We're actually making back doors for a lot of these defense companies to then sell to Russia to have the technology to turn around and bomb our other missiles in Ukraine. Here's how they're doing it. They're basically working through different aliases, different shell companies, different countries, and also making sure that shadowy transportation is done pretty much under the radar. So what happens is, I'm going to give you an example. This company that sells defense parts to America, and that is an American company that's not supposedly selling stuff to Russia, is literally selling it to a provider maybe in Maldives. in these little countries that have no basis of buying millions and billions of dollars worth of technology. But say we sell it to some guy that lives in Maldives. That guy may be a company that's actually owned by one guy in Hong Kong, one guy in Spain, one guy that's actually living in some other kind of country, and they're both basically buying all these parts to then take those parts, separate them, and then send them all over the world. And so then they go to different places, such as different holding sites, and they may be in Germany. They may be in different parts of Eastern Europe. Therefore, you've went through 3 or 4 different entities, 3 or 4 different businesses, 3 or 4 different players to then end up in Russia. You know how this is done? It's done with intelligence services, such as Russia's intelligence service, equivalent to the CIA. The question is, if the CIA can tell me what's on my phone here, and the CIA can actually, censor a video because of misinformation, how do they not know that this technology of billions of dollars worth of defense spending is going across seas actually to Russia? I don't believe they don't know. So that's where it comes into Made in America parts are now ending up in Russian military missiles to then hurt our other missiles that's in Ukraine that's shooting back at them. So the question is it just all about money and power? Now, before we go any further, the way we make these videos is because of sponsors. And today's sponsor is Mudwater. Today's sponsor is Mudwater. Drinking coffee often makes you have the jitters, almost a caffeine rush, but then all of a sudden to be let down, maybe a stomach ache. So in comes Mudwater. Mudwater is going to give you all the benefits that coffee does. Even the caffeine has a great taste, but does not give you the crash that sometimes you have with coffee. So personally, I love drinking coffee in the mornings, but in the afternoons, I always wanted to pick me up. So I would drink a cup of coffee. I've kind of gotten away from that because I just didn't feel good. It made me feel good when I was drinking it. I enjoyed it. Then I was just kind of let down by the fact that the caffeine kind of went away, and then I was back tired, not feeling the best in the world. Still had a few little jitters. So I started changing my afternoon cup to Mudwater. Mudwater is a drink, almost like coffee. It tastes like cacao and chai had a baby. So it almost gives you this chocolatey flavor that really is good and enjoyable to drink. You have all-day energy without the crash and jitters that you typically get from coffee. Also the health benefits. Now we hear that coffee is not bad for you, then we hear that coffee is bad for you. The benefit to Mudwater is not only is it a good energy boosting drink, it's yummy, and then it also has a lot more benefits for our health. The 2 main ingredients, as we talked about before, is cacao and chai. There's also mushrooms in this. Lion's mane is for focus. Cordyceps, which is to help promote energy, natural energy, and both chaga and reishi to benefit our health and immune system. Plus, it's Whole30 approved, 100% USDA certified organic, which is a big, huge plus, because remember, if you're not drinking organic coffee, you're drinking coffee that has been sprayed with herbicides, telling how many bad things and harmful things can be on coffees and teas. So having something certified organic is very good for our health. Non-GMO, gluten-free, kosher, and even vegan. Mudwater is hooking up my viewers with a special offer. If you go to the link below, mudwater.com/themax, you can get started for just $29. That's mudwater.com/themax. And so if you think about it, $29, that's less than $1 a day. What are you paying for your coffee when you go to all these coffee houses? $3 and $4 and $5 a piece. With your Mudwater subscription, we'll be making your own yummy morning natural energy drink. And it's also better for you, healthier for you, organic, and it doesn't give you the jitters like coffee does, and it saves you money. Check out Mudwater today. Link is below. Take advantage of the discount they're giving you. Now back to the video. This shouldn't be something new to you. It should startle you because, again, we're dogging out Russia all the while we're buying oil from them. We're dogging out Russia all the while we're selling them technology. And it's not the U.S. government like it's doing to Ukraine, but what it's doing is the same defense contractors that's selling to the U.S. government that then is selling to Ukraine is now selling back door. So now you hear those politicians that are saying war, 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 war. What they're actually doing is saying, please keep funding this, because ultimately that money will filter back to us. This new bill, the $60 billion bill, it's $95 billion, but $60 billion going to Ukraine. What you don't realize, that's not money. A lot of that's not cash going to Ukraine. That's actually defense spending contracts that are going to be spent here in the United States to then turn around and send that obligation to Ukraine. Some of that won't be there till 2025 and even later. The question is, where's the money going till then? What's going to U.S. defense spending contractors that is then building the munitions, the things that they're needing? Well, where do those lobbyists come from? Well, they come from those companies that then turn around and filter back to our politicians. So you realize all this is just a base pay for play. It's a quid pro quo. Every bit of our politicians are like this. This is not surprising because look at Gaza and Israel. We're funding Israel. We say that we support Israel. All the while we're giving tons of money to the Palestinians and Hamas for quote-unquote humanitarian. Do you actually think they're actually using it for the humanity of the people, or are they using it for other spending? All the while we take money and we send to Iran. Remember, we sent billions of dollars worth of just cash sitting on pallets to Iran. Well, now we're fighting proxies like Houthi and Hamas and Hezbollah with the money that Iran has funded them. You get what I'm saying? We're funding both sides because there's money in it. There's power in it. Now, here's the problem. If all of a sudden the power and the money is there, guess what else we're doing? We're opening ourselves to where all our technology is being exposed, and not only to Russia, to China, to Ukraine, to all these other places across the world in the name of, well, we're helping both sides for money and power, to have more clout. Actually, what we may be doing is exposing ourselves to some bad players, because what if all of a sudden they get this technology and use it against America? Not just America proxies, not just Ukraine, not just Israel, not just whoever we're saying that we want to support this time in history, but what about American sovereignty if they learn how to manipulate our own data against us? If you saw the Mission Impossible last movie, and again, not trying to promote any movie, but you notice when they in the very first scene, the guy was shooting at an AI generated fake missile. Actually, the capability of the AI generated technology was on the sub. They then turn around and shoot the missile, and it came back and hit them. Now, their own technology basically hurt them. It's kind of like that with us. We're wanting so much power and so much clout and so much money that is being spent to then turn around and put back in our own pockets. Actually, what we're doing is we're actually shooting the missiles back at us because we're giving our technology to our adversaries. So here's the thing. That's why there's no solutions to a lot of these years-long war. That's why there's no true war anymore. It tends to be battles and then stalemates. Well, to be honest with you, it's because we're taking our funding and putting it on both sides. We're making money hand over fist, then we're turning around spending money hand over fist. All the while, actually, the taxpayers are the ones funding the bill, and the lobbyists and the people that is leading the charge, the politicians, are the ones getting the money back. It shows that we are not being represented, and we're pretty much being sold out by our own people. Now, this has nothing to do with this story, but this is what I'm trying to show you. Is if you look at Elizabeth Warren, and this goes along for Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, even down to Fannie Willis. Look at her. For instance, she makes $110,000 a year, which is a good salary, but then it's worth $8 million. How's that possible? Nancy Pelosi has been a member of Congress, makes really good money as a member of Congress, a few $100,000 a year, but then is worth multi-millions. And is the best stockbroker in the world, the best stock picker in the world, knows what's going on. Why? Inside information. People like Dan Crenshaw, Mitch McConnell, all these guys, all these politicians are truly showing their hands because they're showing how wealthy they're getting when they're only making $100,000, $200,000 a year, which is phenomenal money. But that is not going to add up to be 10, 15, 20, $30 million net worth, $100 million net worth. How do you get that? I wonder if there's pay for play. I wonder if there's quid pro quos. I wonder if they keep making wars to then turn around and have lobbyists fund their pockets back. I wonder if there's a lot of inside things going on that we're not aware of. However, the Americans are the ones that have to make the sacrifices. Our safety and security, because our technology is getting sent all across the world. What about our money? Our money is going away because we keep printing more to send to all these countries to ultimately come back to politicians in laundering forms and to our defense spending contractors, any kind of complex or any kind of money grab or power grab. But it's actually costing you because the inflation and interest is up based on what our leaders are doing, quote unquote leaders are doing. So is America funding both sides of the war? And actually, is it benefiting the Americans? That's where I have a problem, because when you start seeing all these people who vote for this bill, like for instance, you know this bill could still pass the House. Even though Mike Johnson saying it's not coming up for a vote, we're going to kill it. You have Republicans and Democrat senators both pushing. So say it's so tight of margins. Say all of a sudden one of their articles allows them to still bring something to the floor without the majority consent. Well, if all the Democrats vote for it, which they would, and they just get, what, 10 Republicans who are rhinos, who are part of the same movement of getting money back under the table, this shady system, that $95 billion could easily still be released, even when the conservative side of the party and the majority is saying, well, we don't want that. The majority leadership. So then all of a sudden, all those votes that we kick out, like the Santoses and things like that, it could harm us, because now you're looking at where Mike Johnson says we're not going to take it up. If there's enough Democratic pushback and even a few Republicans, they could still bring it to the floor and overrule the leadership and the conservatives. And all then, $95 more billion goes to defense contract spending that has nothing to do with our borders. It's amazing how this game's played. Now, this video is not meant to make you sad. I just want you to see the realization of where we're living now. It's no fear mongering. It's just truth. We're just talking truth. I want you to do your research. I don't want you to trust me. I just want you to do your research. I'll tell you another person to watch, and you can tell him I sent you. His name is Johnny Harris. I don't know him personally, but he has a good video that came out a few weeks ago, I think, about this same thing, about how dangerous it is, because it looks like America is funding both sides. So I challenge you to go watch that. Tell him I sent you. That's fine. No big deal. But ultimately, I want you to do your research and say, you know what? Maybe we're the ones being played here. So guess what? Just like the Russian technology satellite thing that was going on, could it be true or not? Who cares if it's true or not? You should be prepared for it no matter what. You should be taking care of yourself independently and being more sustainable and buying more emergency food and doing more things to holistically help your body. Exercise, work out, doing things to help yourself. Don't put yourself in a precarious bind where you have to rely on the government. Right now, and we'll go a little bit deeper in the next few days, it's more expensive to buy a house, more debt, more mortgages that are costing more. You're not getting paid a lot on your money at the banks or in the stock market. The bigger players are, but unless you have a lot of money there, it's still very volatile. Bitcoin can't be trusted because you don't tangibly hold it, and your dollars are losing value. So our dependency on the government is getting stronger and stronger and stronger all the while. How safe are we, and how can we depend on them when they're actually playing both sides of the situation? Good versus evil, or just one big scheme? It's my thoughts for the day. Let me know what you think. Am I crazy? I want you to really think through this and comment below your thoughts on this whole situation. Guys, thank you for watching. God bless. Happy homesteading, y'all.